بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد خير النبيين والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and coming tonight. As I mentioned before, we have special guests. And our story last night was talking about one of the greatest companion, his name of Mus'ab bin Umair. Yes. What I promise you?
You bring two brothers of Mus'ab bin Umair.
Yes, to bring two brothers of Mus'ab bin Umair.
But we're already there.
Before I'm gonna introduce the brothers of Mus'ab bin Umair,
MashaAllah.
MashaAllah, What I'm gonna start our program tonight, inshallah, by introducing one of the brothers of Mus'ab bin Umair. Remember, Mus'ab bin Umair. We have his brother here. His name is Stas. We're gonna start with Mr. Stas first.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. So like you said, my name is Stas, and alhamdulillah, I'm really grateful to be here to be able to share my story. Hopefully there'll be some benefit for people in it. And I want to thank everybody for coming and people for organizing it. I really like what this masjid is doing, and I feel like this masjid is very, very helpful, especially for the youth. So, Jazakallah khair for that. Just about me a little bit. I'm currently like a student. I just finished my bachelor's in university in psychology and linguistics. And inshallah, I'm hoping to continue with my master's, and I hope to become like a family and couple counselor. Inshallah. Just a little bit of background. Like, my family is originally from Ukraine, and after the Soviet Union broke down, then they moved to what is now called Israel, but it's really Palestine. So I come from a Jewish background, and when I was 11, I moved to Canada, and I first moved to Winnipeg, and then I lived there for I think 7 years or so. And before Islam, I used to believe in many different like ideologies. I didn't really have much of a direction. I just kind of believed whatever everybody told me. I had one person in particular who would kind of try to kind of explain life to me and to explain the purpose of life and things like that. But at that point, I had so much like love for this person. I have so much veneration because he was older than me. Then I just kind of took whatever he had and like whatever he gave me. So I didn't really think much about things by myself. And then when I came here to Edmonton just about 5 years ago, then I had a lot of free time. I had lots of free time to think about life, about myself, what's the purpose of it all, and where's my life heading. Because at that time I didn't really have to go to school. I just finished high school, and there wasn't much for me to do other than just like a few courses and just some work. So when I started to look through different religions, I started to look through my own background, which was Judaism. I looked through Christianity, I looked through Hinduism, Buddhism, like pretty much anything you could really think of. And like I couldn't really find any evidence for these things. It was just kind of like, this is what these people believe. This is what their opinion is. They say a few things about different things, but there was nothing to really stand upon. There was no evidence for what they're saying. And I went to university. Like, I kind of got into the mentality of thinking about things thoroughly, not exactly questioning things, but to actually just critically analyzing, which means like to think deeply about things. And I took a course on Judaism and on the Bible and things like that. And then I noticed that the Bible is corrupted, and there have been many changes, and these things are very obvious. Nobody's denying them. It's well known. All those scholars they say those kind of things. So that kind of pushed away Christianity and Judaism to the side, because they had nothing to really stand upon. Because if a religion has a book, it should be preserved, it should be authentic, it should be something you could claim to be from God. But if it was changed, then there's nothing really there. So I started to look through like through different religions, also like through Hinduism. That was also just a bunch of different stories which were interesting, but there weren't there was nothing really there for me to hold on to or to be connected with. And then I met one person who told me something that was completely like contradictory to what I believed, because I believed in reincarnation, which is that you live life and then you die, and then you're born again and then you die, and you just keep going through that until you reach some sort of a stage, which it made sense to me at the time. But then when somebody told me about the fact that you only have one life, you have the ability to either do good or do bad, and after that you will be rewarded for what you did, whether it was good or bad. And this really kind of changed my mentality, because it was completely different to what I was used to. And like I started to kind of to think about it. I started to research Islam because it was a lot different. And then when I started to listen to the Quran, there were many verses that didn't really make much sense, just because I was listening to the translation, and as you listen to it in English, it doesn't sound the same. So I had to actually buy a physical book copy of the Quran and to read it. And then when I started to read things, I noticed so many different interesting things to me. That the fact that the emphasis was always on monotheism, because if there was some sort of a religion, it should be focusing on worshiping God, not worshiping human beings or worshiping idols or something like that, or just or doing something else. So like that really stood out for me. There were other things that I noticed really quickly, that when I read them, they didn't really. They sounded like something that you'd read in like in a scientific book, like the fact that the planets are circulating around like in circuits, or like in they're circulating around, which, like, knowing science, I knew that this is talking about the different systems. So I was really amazed to see this in a book that had no way of knowing about these kind of things. I hope everyone can hear me. I don't know, but
No, it's good.
yeah, okay.
It's good in the back? Yeah.
Okay. So this really stood out to me, and then when I started to look through the different evidences of that Islam brings, and what the biggest one, and the one that's the one that Muslims have to stand up on, and the one that you compare to other religions, is the Tawheed, the monotheism of Islam. When you compare it to other religions, they always associated partners with God, with Allah. There was always something. Even the ones that claim to be monotheistic, they always had some sort of problem with it. If it wasn't in the oneness of Allah, they differed in the names and attributes. They would give some sort of attributes that were not befitting for Allah to have. Something like God sleeping, or not God sleeping, God becoming tired after creating the heavens and the earth, which is what the Jews believe, and this is what's in the Bible, which it's not something you can say about the creator of the heavens and the earth. So like when I started to see this in Islam, that it was so pure, it was so it was so concerned over worshiping God and worshiping God alone without anything. This really it was really amazing to me. And another aspect that I found really that really kind of stood out to me, because I used to question morality, like how do you know what is good, what is bad? Because in this society you can do whatever you want, like as long as you just follow the rules of the country, everything goes, which didn't really make sense to me. There has to be like something that you go off of and something you can refer back to. Rules cannot just change over time just because people feel differently. So when I found that Islam gives such clear rules and clear guidelines on how to live life, then this really attracted me to it, because you can't really you can't follow another religion to the same extent. Like Islam is so comprehensive of your life that it gives you even rules on how to go to the bathroom. Like we know that we shouldn't be facing the Qibla, we should be like washing ourselves, we should be using 3 stones or 3 papers or whatever. Like it's so comprehensive. Anything you can think of, there are rules and guidelines around that, which gives you a direction of life. But if you look at many people, you ask them about life, about the purpose of life, or where they're heading, they don't really have an idea. They're just gonna go. They surf on the wave. Wherever the waves take them, that's where they will go, which is not how a human being should be. They should have some sort of some sort of structure to the life. So this really stood out to me. And there was actually like a time when I found so many evidences to Islam, so many things to support it, that it was beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the truth, this is the religion of God. That I started to to pray, because I didn't know that you had to pray 5 times a day. I just prayed like 3 times, twice, whenever I wanted. I did it in English. Like there wasn't anybody to really tell me what's right, so I tried to do what I could. But there was one day where I just decided that, okay, today's the day I'm gonna go to the mosque and I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna see what I can do. Maybe they can teach me how to pray properly. And then when I went to the masjid, they got me in contact with a brother, and he already thought I was Muslim because I watched so many videos of Dr. Zakir Naik, of Ahmed Didat, like so many things. Like I had all these specific words. Even when he forgot the one Arabic word, I told him which one it was. I think I was already researching it for 2 years or like a year and a half. So I already knew I thought I knew so much. Like I didn't really know much, but there was some information that I knew. So he thought I was Muslim. He didn't even really question it. But then when I came to Masjid MCE, it's just here off of White Avenue. As soon as I came in, there was this one brother. He asked me like, "Are you Muslim? Did you take the Shahada?" I said no. So he just sat me down. He asked me whether I accept the 5 pillars of Islam, the 6 articles of faith and things like that. And he told me, "You're Muslim. All you have to do is just take the Shahada." So I was already feeling like I was a Muslim. I was telling people I was a Muslim. And in fact, even before I took the Shahada, I used to give people da'wah. Like I used to call them to Islam. I used to tell them about it, which I feel like it is very much needed nowadays. Not a lot of people are doing it, but when I came there, he asked me about these questions. He told me you're Muslim, so then I took the Shahada, and it so happened to be that there was a potluck that same day, and so I sat with some brothers. I got to know them, and the people at the university that were there as well. And after that, I just kind of learned how to pray, the basic things about Islam. And this continued all the way until now, to the point that now, I'm studying Arabic, which I feel is very, very fundamental for knowing Islam. Like I think everybody should know at least some basic foundation for Arabic, so that you can understand the religion. Because this is one of the doors to Islam, to understanding Islam is how it should be. And that's pretty much it. I don't really have any much else to say.
Jazakallah khair, brother Seth. Thank you very much. We're not going to receive any question yet. It's the way they show that they're happy. They're happy now. Jazakallah khair. Well, I know for sure that you have a lot of questions to ask, but we're not going to give the question away in the end. We're going to move to our brother Rodriguez, right? He's going to share his story with us as well.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Very good, very good. Shall we try one more time?
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good. You need to say it proud. You need to say it proud. Because this is the way we greet one another as Muslims. We're wishing on each other the barakah and the blessings and the peace of our beloved Allah. We're wishing that upon each other. Now, I have a very important question for you. Who are you?
I'm a kid.
Who are you? Yeah, who are you?
I'm a Muslim and I'm proud to be one.
Muslim and proud to be one. Who else? Who else? Who are you?
I'm a human.
You're a human being. Very good. Over here.
My name is.
Your name is Muhammad. Good. Over here, one of the young ladies here.
I'm a girl.
You're a girl. Yes. Yeah?
Brother?
Sister.
Sister of the Prophet. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Listen, it is so important that you know who you are and how you define yourself. What do I mean by define yourself? What does that mean?
Like
Yeah?
say who you basically are.
Who you say you basically are. Exactly, exactly. So, when we know who we are, we know the path that we walk in life, right? It's a hard path to walk. It's a hard path to walk for Muslims and for everybody. But let me tell you this, brothers and sisters in Islam. The more that you know who you are, and the more certain that you are about who you are, the easier it will be for you to walk that path. Okay? So, this is the thing. I want to tell you a little bit about how I became Muslim. And one of the things that was really, really, really important for me was the fact that Islam represented discipline. What do I mean by discipline? What does this word discipline mean? Who can tell me? Yes, right over here.
It means like discipline.
What does it mean? What does it mean? Over here, young brother.
Like punishment?
No, not quite. Over here, young brother.
Being able to do the same thing over and over.
Yeah, being able to do the same thing over and over again, making sure that you're following the rules, to be disciplined, right? Now, what's the perfect example of discipline in Islam? What do we have to do 5 times a day?
Pray.
Yeah, I heard it right over here, pray. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, this was one of the first things that attracted me to Islam. Because in my life experience, I can tell you that discipline makes things easier. Discipline makes things easier. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to imagine, if you didn't have to pray 5 times a day, you just prayed whenever you wanted, how would that affect your life? Yeah? How would it affect your life?
You're gonna say, maybe 5 is not enough. Maybe I need a little more. Maybe 5 is too much. Maybe I need a little less.
Yeah, you're gonna start saying, oh, maybe this, maybe that, maybe here, maybe there. But in Islam, we have 5 prayers a day. And if you want, you could even pray sunnah prayers, right? And then if you want, you could even pray voluntary prayers, nafil prayers on top of that. Right? But the point is that 5 times a day, we face the Qibla and we focus on our relationship with Allah. So 5 times a day, we're renewing our commitment to Allah. 5 times a day. So this is very important, this discipline. This discipline then, remember what I said, discipline makes things easier. So you start focusing your life around your prayers, right? You know, okay, at approximately 2:30 or between 2 and 2:30, I have to go pray Zuhr, right? So you start planning your day. What am I going to do between Fajr and Zuhr? Most of us are going to sleep. At least part of that, right? Let's be honest. We sleep a little bit more after we pray our Fajr, right? We read Quran perhaps, we recite from Quran a little bit, but then we just take a nap, right? And we go back to sleep. But we wake up and then we start planning what we're going to do for the rest of our day until we get to Zuhr. Then we say to ourselves, okay, between Zuhr and Asr, I have right now in the summertime, I have approximately 5 hours. So what am I going to do during those 5 hours? What other work am I going to get done during those hours? And then the same thing goes between Asr and Maghrib. And then, of course, this is a perfect example between Maghrib and Isha. We only have 1 hour, so we might as well just stay in the masjid. And in this case, we're listening to our brothers talk, but sometimes we just sit and recite Quran and we continue doing our prayers. But the point is, little brothers and little sisters, is that this discipline helps us to be very organized in our life. And this is what Allah wants from us, to be organized. So, we should be proud of the fact that we are organized. Because at the end of the day, like the young brothers over here said, I define myself as a Muslim, or I define myself as a human being. And those two things are very important. Because in Islam, we want to be the best Muslim that we can be. But of course, to be the best Muslim means to be the best human being that we can be. And guess what? When you strive to do that, when you're working hard to be the best human being that you can be, you then become an ambassador of Islam, an ambassador of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and an ambassador of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, I know that in this dunya, people want you to feel ashamed of following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They try to pull you away. They try to pull you away and say, it's not that important to pray, or no, you can go and do something else. Let's go and have fun. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go do something else. But remember that each and every one of you is an ambassador of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and an ambassador of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? And that our relationship with Allah makes you a better human being. Because what are some of the examples that are in our beloved Quran, in the noble Quran, that teach us about how to be human beings? Rather than me tell you what I like, you tell me, what is it that you've heard? No? So what are we as human beings, as Muslims, what are we supposed to do in the world? Give us an example. Yes, young lady. Salah, zakat, the recitation of the Quran. What else?
We're here in this world because it's a test.
It is a test, yes.
And also it's a test, and maybe also it's because so you can make more people get into Islam and stuff like that.
Yeah, invite people to Islam. Right? Yes? Pardon me? Good deeds, yes, good deeds, yes. Treat everyone with respect. And look how simple the message of our Quran is. Look how simple it is. Treat others with respect. Do good deeds. Invite people to Islam. These are simple things. These are simple things. So as ambassadors of Allah and our beloved Prophet, we have simple rules and we have simple deeds that we must do in order to go out there and be a good influence on the rest of the world, right? These were the things that attracted me to Islam. And I want to tell you a secret. So, some of you don't know me very well. My name is Rod Loyola. Rodrigo Loyola is my full name. Actually, my full name, you want to hear it? My full name? Okay, are you ready? Rodrigo Alonso Loyola Salas. That's my full name. I'm originally from Chile. My parents came from Chile, and I came from Chile when I was only 2 years old. I came as a refugee from Chile. Okay? How many of you know what a refugee is? Right? Okay. Some of you know, some of you don't. So, but my point is that, and then I became the elected representative. So I represent people in the government. That's my job. That's what I do day to day. Right? And then because of my job, I used to visit my local masjid, which is JRJ Mosque in the south side. I used to go to say hello to all the Muslims because I wanted to let the Muslims know that I was here to help them, just like I was here to help everybody else. It didn't matter, Hindu, Christian, Jew, it didn't matter. I was there to help everybody. But one day, one of the brothers, his name is Khalid, he came to me and he said, Rod, why don't you pray with us? Now remember, I was Catholic at the time. I was a Catholic, right? And I wasn't a very good practicing Catholic, I'll be honest. I wasn't a very good practicing Catholic. But the brother said, why don't you come and pray with us? And I said, okay, sure. I believe in God. You believe in God. We may pray differently, but let's pray. But that was the first time that I heard the recitation of the Quran, where I actually paid attention. And even though I don't know Arabic, that day I started to cry when I heard the recitation of the Quran. The Quran, the recitation of the Quran touched my heart. Now I want you to imagine, if that brother wouldn't have invited me to pray, to this day I would still be not a Muslim. I'd still be out there, doing whatever I was doing before. And then like that, throughout my entire experience with Islam, every time people started inviting me to do one more thing, and one more thing, and one more thing. So for example, before I even decided to take my shahada, I decided that I was going to fast during Ramadan. Because I wanted to know what the Muslim experience was like. I wasn't Muslim yet, but I decided I will fast during Ramadan. And when I decided to fast during Ramadan, I said, okay, well, I'm also going to start eating halal. And I started following all of the rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for us Muslims during the month of Ramadan. And then at the end of Ramadan, I have to decide, okay, am I going to go back? Or am I going to continue living the lifestyle of a Muslim? So I said, I want to keep living the lifestyle of a Muslim because I felt better. I felt healthier. I felt happier. I felt more fulfilled. I felt like a better leader. I felt like a better human being. And Islam made me feel those things. So then as the days passed, I said to myself, I want to make sure that I'm not going to be one of those people who reverts to Islam, becomes a Muslim, and then falls back out. Because if I make this decision, I'm making it for life, I told myself. So then several months passed, and then I decided on October 26th of 2018, I was going to take my shahada. Alhamdulillah, it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah, I actually had one of the brothers who actually came to my shahada. Brother Osman over there, who's sitting over there, I actually invited him to my shahada. And he was there that day, and we've been best friends ever since. Doesn't matter how far apart we are, we always remember each other. Because we have that brotherhood, that we're both brothers in Islam. And this is the beauty of our religion, the beauty of our deen. And I want you to remember this as you continue to grow older. Number one, you're an ambassador of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and an ambassador of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I know that you know that the best way that you can live your Islam is by following Sunnah, the practice of the Prophet, right? We all know this, right? So we all know this, correct? So we try to do as much Sunnah as we possibly can in our lives. Perhaps you're young right now, perhaps you don't do as much, but it's important for you to learn these things. And inshallah, with time, you will go incorporating more and more of the life of the Prophet, the practice of the Prophet into your life, right? The important thing, though, is that because you're an ambassador, you represent Islam. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This topi, I don't have to wear it when I'm not praying, right? Right? I don't have to, right? It's not an obligation to wear a topi when you're not praying. It's good to cover your head when you're in the masjid. We know this, right? But I wear this topi all the time. Or if I'm not wearing this, I'm wearing some other kind of head covering that represents me as a Muslim. Because when I'm out there in public, wearing the topi reminds me that I need to be the best Muslim I can be. I need to be the best human being that I can be. Because I'm proud of our deen. And I'm proud of what our deen calls us to do. Remember what we said, respecting people, the good deeds. It reminds me every day that I need to do these things, right? It's just a small way that it reminds me. But we go through life and we go through practicing as much as we can so that we can be the best Muslims and the best human beings that we can be. So I want you to remember, when you're with your friends who perhaps are not Muslim, not that it's, if they're a different religion, it's fine, it's good. But remember that you have to be the best Muslim that you can be and the best human being that you can be. Yeah?
My dad said never be ashamed to say you're a Muslim besides people.
Exactly. Never be ashamed to say that you are a Muslim. Because we have a beautiful deen. We have a beautiful deen. Yes, young man?
When I was a kid, I always used to be shy when I wear khamis, because I never used to wear a khamis that much. I was like 7, 8 years old. I was always shy when I wasn't out at the masjid or at home getting ready to go to the masjid. Like, for example, you were at a superstore, or Walmart, or Costco. I was really just so nervous. But when I listened to this one speech about to be proud of who you am and stuff, for once, like most of them, I wasn't even paying attention. But this one, I knew that I had to, because, if I didn't listen to this, I wouldn't have been proud to represent who I am today. Right now, I'm proud to be the Muslim I am.
Alhamdulillah. Good job, Sheikh Abdul.
I'm just going to repeat a little bit about what he said. He was saying that when he was younger, he wasn't proud of wearing a kameez, right? But he said that with time, then he listened to a speech where it said that you have to be proud to be Muslim. And now he's proud of it every day, right? So I'm summarizing what he said, but that's basically what we said. So be proud of dressing the way that we dress, because the way that we dress is also passed down in the Quran and is part of the practice of the Prophet and the practice of the companions, including the women that were part of the companions as well. I saw a hand up over here. Did you have something you wanted to say, young lady? You know what? MashaAllah, I'm going to tell you a beautiful story. So this last Ramadan, I decided to set the intention that I was going to read the Quran from cover to cover. Okay? In English translation, because I'm not good at Arabic yet. I'm practicing, I'm learning, but I'm not perfect yet, or good yet. So I decided I was going to read the Quran from cover to cover. And I did. And I'll be honest with you, when I set the intention, I thought, there's no way I'm going to finish. It's just too much, it's too big, it's too long. I'm not going to finish, I'm not going to finish. I was doubting myself. But every day during Ramadan, I would wake up to pray Fajr, and then I would start reading. And I would just start reading, and the time would just fly by. It would just fly by. And I ended up finishing reading the Quran in the first 20 days of Ramadan. Imagine that. I still had 10 days left after I finished. But during reading the Quran, I would pray, and I would pray every day that Allah open my mom's heart to Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because remember, I was Catholic, so my mom was also Catholic, and she started studying many different religions too. But then during Ramadan, wallahi, every day I would pray, Allah, please open my mom's heart to you. And now my mom has decided that she's going to do her shahada.
Allahu Akbar.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
And that reminds me of something that's really important, brothers and sisters. And that is, do not underestimate the power of dua. Do not underestimate the power of dua. Right? So when you need something, when you want to wish something well for another person, or your family member, or someone from the community, do dua for them. Do dua for them. You know, and I was just reminding Brother Osman, because we went to go eat before, since the day I met Brother Osman and I did my Shahada, I've been praying for this brother every day. That Allah guides him, and you know what? I'm not going to tell his story. Maybe one day he'll tell you his story. Maybe the brothers here will invite Brother Osman to tell his own story. But you know, Alhamdulillah, he's a blessed man. He's a blessed man. But you know, that's the beauty of our deen. And don't forget that we're brothers and we're sisters in Islam. We need to care for one another. The same way we respect everybody, we need to respect everybody and treat everybody well. But most of all, our brothers and our sisters in Islam. Okay? So with that, I'll wrap up and we'll give some time for you all to ask some questions. Inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan. Before we're going to open the flat for receiving the questions, before you want to ask a question, you have to raise your hand and you have to appoint who you want to ask this question. But before we start with that, I want to just mention a few things. What is the difference between you and me and Brother Stats and Brother Rodriguez? The only difference is that we are lucky that we are born as Muslims, because we find our parents as Muslims. We didn't struggle to look for the truth, but for both brothers, they struggle. They're looking hard to know what's going on in this earth. What's going on with the religion? What is the right, what is the wrong? And Brother Stas, remember what he said. He learned 2 years about religion in Islam. And he's inviting people for Islam even if he didn't take Shahada yet. Even if he didn't take Shahada yet. And remember, Brother Rodriguez, what he said, you have to be proud to be Muslim. If you are proud to be Muslim, that leads you to be ambassador of the religion. Who is the first ambassador in Islam? Mus'ab bin Umair, which we mentioned yesterday, his story. And you can't be ambassador of the Islam without knowing your religion. I want to be ambassador of the Islam, but I don't know to read Quran. And the brother said, he said it's very important to learn your Arabic language. I know I saw a couple of videos of Brother Rodriguez on the Facebook page. He shared with us his Arabic writing and his trying, he repeated some words, you know. That shows you, doesn't matter how old you are, to seek for the knowledge, it doesn't have specific age. Remember, and to conclude with this, Brother Rodriguez, he mentioned very important the key, which I mentioned before, yesterday. Majd, you remember? The brotherhood in Islam is more stronger than actual brother. But I cannot receive some question. If you want a question, raise your hand. Who want to ask a question? We're going to start with Abdullah. Come take it. For him, come. Okay, just say he's going to repeat the question. He's pointing you, you know, you're in trouble.
So, like, if your mom became Muslim, did your dad become Muslim too?
You know, unfortunately, my father passed away in 2006, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't remember him. And I pray to Allah every day that Allah knows best, but I hope that Allah will invite my father to be in Jannah with us one day. But Allah knows best.
Who's next? Majd, the question for who?
For you.
For me?
No, not you. For you. Did
For
your
Stan.
parents become Muslim as well?
No, unfortunately, no one has become Muslim yet. I've tried to give dawah for the past 4 years that I've been Muslim now. And in the beginning I used to be a little bit harsh. Like I used to live with my parents, and like things would always be there, especially with the news. There'll always be something there, so we would have the conversations. But I was a little bit harsh in the beginning, and then I kind of like took it easy a little bit on them, and I tried to do it in a little bit softer way, and I just tried to mention it like occasionally, every here and there, and yeah. But so, one day, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Sumaya.
Yes.
What was your parents' reaction when you said, I want to become a Muslim?
My mom said you can't do that. But when I told her, I said I already am Muslim, so there's nothing like we can do. But yeah, my family was not very happy with it. But over time, things changed, and then once I wanted to get married, then they got to meet Muslims, and they found that everything that they knew about Muslims was completely different, because they used to get a lot of information from the media and maybe from other people. But once they actually met Muslims, they found that like a lot of it was just lies. So like a lot of things not completely changed, but they changed a lot after. So yeah.
That's very important questions. Humayna Mubad.
Less words on it.
Yeah.
The story of Mus'ab ibn Umair, what his mom she was not happy, right? The same thing with Stas. As I told you yesterday, Stas is a brother of Mus'ab ibn Umair. We can't call him Mus'ab now.
Sure.
Abdurrahman, yes.
For who?
Stas. They like you.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally. That was it.
That,
Yeah, I just thought that was my question.
this is your question.
Like just like to explain it, like
I know what it is, but like I just knew I heard it before.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like needing you to like
Just to kind of like
Yeah.
confirm it. Yeah, yeah. Like English has been influenced a lot by like Latin and other languages. So mono just means one, and theism means the belief in God. Yeah, so the belief in one God.
Hey, you want to ask who? Stas, yeah, sure.
Well, for your Vegas.
I'll ask Stas a question.
He answered the question in his topic.
Say it again, sir.
Are you the only Muslim?
So the brother asked if I'm the only Muslim in my family. So currently, as it is now, yes, I am the only Muslim. But I try to make dua as much as I can to open my parents' hearts and my family's hearts to Islam, and others should do the same.
Ali, question for who? For who? Ron, finally.
Yes, what is your question?
Anything like in your life when you wasn't a Muslim and what are the things that you regretted that you did, and now you become a Muslim? And
Can we
you
listen
say,
to the
"I
question,
wish I
please?
never did
Guys in the back, can we listen?
So the brother was asking, before I became Muslim, was there anything that I regretted doing? And right, basically, that was the question. Yeah. So, without divulging too much, I think that we all go, like, especially when we're teenagers. So you're going to become a teenager soon. So please take this very important lesson that I'm going to tell you. Please listen to your parents. Please listen to your parents. Now I know that sometimes, we think to ourselves, my parents, they're too demanding. But guess what? Your parents are telling you the things that they're telling you because they have your best interest at heart. They care and love you so much that they don't want you to make mistakes. And you know what? I was the kind of teenager that I didn't listen to my parents all that often, and I would make big mistakes, right? So I wish I would have listened to them, because they were guiding me and they were telling me, be careful. This is what's going to happen to you if you don't make the best decisions, right? So my lesson to you: listen to your parents because they care and they love you. Okay?
Because we are running out of the time, we're going to receive last 3 questions. We're having Sheikh Muhammad, you have question, then Mace, then Muhammad, then we're gonna end up, inshallah. Yes, Muhammad, what's your question for who?
What is
Who's that? You want to ask this?
what is the
That's
rarest?
when he's looking at you. Yes.
What is the rarest Quran?
What is the rarest Quran?
I mean, the rarest surah.
The rarest surah? Like the one that's the most unique, you mean? Or the one...
Yeah. Maybe the unique for you.
Okay, yeah, for me, the most unique surah for me. I would say Surah Al-Hadad, just because like I've been, like I listened to it many times, and it covers a lot of the attributes of Allah, and it talks about Allah a lot, and then the life to come, like the Jahannam and Jannah, and many other things. It talks about the hypocrites, so I really like that. I have many favorite surahs, like Surah Al-Naziyat. I love. Sorry?
He knows it.
He knows it, mashallah.
Mashallah, you're good. You're ambassador, you know?
Yeah, I would highly recommend to look at the meaning in a language that you can understand. If it's Arabic, read it in Arabic and maybe read the explanation, because each surah has a lot of depth and it has a lot of meaning in it.
Mace, what's your question for? Right. Just 1 second. Can we listen to her question, please? Can we pay attention? Remember that our brother Rodriguez, he said the very important thing is discipline and respect.
Do you have any other brothers and sisters who are Muslim?
No, I actually don't have they're not Muslim yet. I'm gonna do dua for each of them. But I actually have 3 brothers. One lives in Sweden, one lives in London, UK, and the other one lives here in Edmonton. And I'm going to start doing dua for them, so hopefully, inshallah, they will become Muslim too.
We're going to receive the last question from Brother Muhammad. Who? Stas, yes.
What was your like when you tell your friend I wanted to become a Muslim? What was their reaction? What did they tell you?
To my friends?
Yeah, friends.
To my friends. Honestly, when I first came here to Edmonton, I didn't really know any people, and I just went to like a school that was right between high school and university. So I met a few people there, but then like they kind of disappeared. So when I went to university, that's when I became Muslim, and I still didn't really like know that many people, so I didn't really have like a huge group of non-Muslim friends. But I did have some in Winnipeg. So when I told them, they were very kind of like they're just joking. They made fun of Islam and they made fun of me and all these kind of things. So like I just stopped talking to them. I tried to give them some dawah. I tried to explain to them. But when somebody mocks Islam, there's no really tolerance for that. So like I just stopped talking to them because there's no point. But yeah, but alhamdulillah, all the Muslim friends that I made were very happy and they supported me.
Thank you.
We came to the end, inshallah. Sorry about the way you're not receiving any question right now. If you have any question, maybe you can Brother Rob and Brother Seth after the salat, inshallah. Thank you very much again for your coming and accepting our invitation. Thank you.